Starting temperature 24 degrees, 24.0. And the starting mileage is 42138. 42138.
Hey YouTube, it's gentlemansnine. This is ride number 2 of the Polar Bear Challenge. I don't know if it's fucked up yet. Ride number 2, December 2nd. And my guess is it'll probably be the last ride for at least 2-3 days. I'm not really sure. Looks like it's warming up. I think I talked about this last year. Just some of the people that we had interviewed for a position at my place that I work. But I recently had somebody leave, and we're looking to add one more person to the team. So I am looking to hire 2 software developers. At this point, I actually have hired one. They will start next Monday, and we're still interviewing for one last position. I had this happen last year, and I just had it happen this year. So this would have been a couple weeks ago. I was interviewing this person, and I had them sitting in the conference room right across from where I sit. They're doing the coding test, and it might have only been like 20 minutes in, maybe, and I saw the door. I saw the door open. So I'm like thinking they're done. So I grabbed my pad of paper and a pen, walk over, and this was a lady. She already had her perks on, so I was a little confused. I'm like, "Was everything all right?" And she said, "At this point, I am doing you a disservice if I continue this interview, so I'm going to leave." I'm like, what? So she's basically asking to leave. You know, I'm trying to be nice and say, "Well, what's the problem? Is it just that the instructions were hard to understand, or what?" Well, basically, she had been on maternity leave. And I know I'm not supposed to use this as justification or reasoning, but she said she was on maternity leave, and it had been a while since she had basically reviewed anything related to IT. So that's understandable. You're taking time off of work. But I think she'd only been away from work for 3 months. So, and I know people can lose a lot of their thoughts and memories in 3 months, but the core abilities to write code or understand code, it's still there after 3 months. So anyways, I walked her to the door, and then a lot of people will fail this. So like I said, this is probably too high level or too geeky for most people, but one of the technical questions I ask is I ask them to define recursion, which is a fancy way of saying some code that calls itself. So if you think about an example where that would be used, let's say you're looking at files on your computer. So if you open up Windows Explorer or Finder on the Mac, you'll see a list of files and a bunch of folders. So if your steps are to open up that window and then look and see the files and the folders in it, and then you say, well, this is a folder, you double click that folder, and then that opens up a new window, which then you look at the files and folders inside of there. That process right there is recursion. So if I look once, I'm going to look at the files and folders. If there's folders in it, I basically repeat the process by opening up that folder and then looking at the files and folders in there. And eventually, if I repeat this enough, I'll end up getting a list of all the files on the computer that you're looking at. So most people can define recursion, but most people can't code it. And my example is pretty easy. Basically, it's just a tree, and I just ask him to display all the values. So if I get ambitious, I'll put the example right here. And you can solve it. But basically, I give them the code, I give them the tree, the diagram, And all I say is just basically write down the code that would be this recursive process, and then they all fail it. It's all kind of sad. And I walk them. Basically, I let them try to talk through it, and when they talk through it, it makes sense. The only thing is they can't translate that to code, and I'm like thinking, dude, you have been a senior software developer for 8-10 years, and you cannot figure this out? How did you get that promotion?
Ending mileage 42176. 42176.